The galaxy had been at war for 27 long years when Nina Kade finally learned the enemy had a name. Until then, the Resistance had only called it the Horror. A fitting name for a force that left nothing but silent, hollowed-out worlds in its wake. Nina was a reconnaissance captain in the Solarian Resistance, a legend whispered among the ranks. She was the one who always came back from missions no one else did. They said she had nerves of steel, and it was true. Her cybernetic eyes, tuned for the deepest space distortions, had seen things that would shatter a normal mind. She had a reputation for never, ever hesitating. But that reputation was about to be tested. The transmission crackled through her ship's comms, an ancient, distorted voice that felt like it was crawling directly into her skull. It whispered her name. "Nina," it said, a soft, terrible sound. "Come home." For the first time in a decade, Nina's hands froze on the controls. The blood in her veins turned to ice. She knew that voice. The Horror was not an empire. It wasn't some alien species driven by conquest. It was Vorlith. And once, Vorlith had been human or something terrifyingly close. Now, it was a sentient abyss, a consciousness wrapped in living, shifting armor. It didn't conquer planets with fleets and armies. It hollowed them out from the inside, feeding on the fear, the memories, and the guilt of its victims. Entire worlds would go dark. Their stars would dim. Their populations would vanish without a single desperate distress signal. The official resistance story was that Vorlith was born from a failed experiment at the dawn of faster-than-light travel. A scientific disaster of cosmic proportions. But Nina knew the real truth. She knew because she had been there. Decades ago, as a child, she had lived on Station EOS 9. Her mother, Dr. Aris Kade, was the lead scientist on Project Lux, a top-secret, wildly ambitious attempt to harness the power of dark stellar matter, to bend reality itself. The experiment didn't just fail. It failed catastrophically. The station and everyone on it simply vanished. Wiped from existence. Everyone died. Everyone except for a little girl named Nina, and the thing that would become Vorlith. Now, after all these years of running, of fighting, of surviving, Nina had finally reached the edge of the dead spiral. The place where the Horror was most concentrated. As her ship approached, space itself seemed to recoil, to warp and twist away from the presence at its center. Vorlith's form was a nightmare-given shape. It shifted constantly, a chaotic storm of skeletal wings, burning eyes, and swirling darkness. And trapped within that darkness, Nina saw them fragments of faces, screaming in silent, eternal agony. Millions of them. And among them, she saw her mother's face, frozen in that final moment of terror. "You left me," Vorlith said. Its voice wasn't one, but thousands, a layered chorus of the damned, all speaking in unison. "You survived." I** became asterisk. In that instant, Nina understood everything. The galactic war wasn't about territory or resources. Vorlith wasn't trying to build an empire. It was trying to erase reality. It wanted to collapse the entire universe into a single point of absolute silence, a place where pain could no longer exist. Every scream it consumed, every memory it devoured, made it stronger, pulling it closer to its goal of total, agonizing peace. Nina's pulse rifle felt useless in her hands. She realized this war could never be won with weapons. It couldn't be won with fleets or strategies. It could only be won with memory. Taking a deep, shuddering breath, she did the one thing no soldier would ever do. She shut down her ship's shields, leaving herself completely vulnerable. Then she opened a direct neural link, a raw connection from her mind to the monster before her. She was inviting Vorlith in. Instantly, she was drowning in an ocean of absolute horror. She felt the fires of 1,000 burning worlds. She heard the cries of trillions of dying children. She experienced the endless, echoing void of loss that Vorlith had become. The pain was unimaginable, a force that should have obliterated her sanity in a microsecond. But Nina did not look away. She held on, and then she pushed back. Not with anger, not with hate, but with something else. Something Vorlith had never known. She showed it hope. Not the hope for peace, not the hope for forgiveness. She showed it the memory of a choice. The choice to live, even in pain. The choice to remember, even when it hurts. She shared the quiet strength of seeing the sunrise after a long night. The warmth of a shared meal, the simple, defiant act of continuing on. For the first time in its horrific existence, Vorlith hesitated. The maelstrom of screaming faces faltered. The horror screamed, but this time it was not a sound of rage or power. It was a scream of pure, undiluted agony. The dark matter that held its form together began to destabilize, collapsing inward on itself like a dying star. As Vorlith unraveled, its final words echoed across the void, a single, clear voice breaking through the chorus of the damned. Her mother's voice. If I must end, let it be by the one who remembers. The explosion was silent but blinding, lighting up the dead spiral brighter than any sun in the galaxy. Nina survived, again. The war was over. There were no victory parades, no celebrations. Too many worlds were gone. Too many ghosts remained etched into the memory of the cosmos. But the galaxy, scarred and broken, breathed again. A quiet, tentative breath of relief. And sometimes late at night, as Nina drifts in the quiet solitude between the stars, she still hears a whisper in the static of her comes. It's not a threat. It's not a plea for help. It's just a voice, her mother's voice, learning at long last how to be silent. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark corners of space, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the void. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Nina's story. Until next time, stay safe out there among the stars.